Wayne had said in the press not too long ago that we were going to try something where we release a song a month for the next year as a way to keep people interested in stuff that's coming out, because, you know, you put something out, people can just download it or whatever. And I think his thinking was that we could keep people interested this way if we say we're going to release a song a month, and then with the song will be all this content. There'll be a video about the making of, you know, there'll be some, Wayne always writes these long rants about what we're working on and stuff like that.
Well, we've done, I don't know how many albums we've done. I think we've done 14 or 15. We've done a lot. We've been around since 1983. So I started to think I would rather do something that's more spontaneous, where we're kind of recording it, and then if we can, within a couple of weeks of making it, it's out there in the world. So I announced that we were going to do this, and we would put out perhaps a song a month. And so someone suggested, why don't you do something for Valentine's Day? So we released this song, which may or may not be appropriate for Valentine's Day. It's called Two Blobs. That's a great thing to say to the world. I think for me, I want to do other stuff. I don't think the world wants it. I just know I want to do it, and that's the reason I do it.
We're trying to think of, you know, for lack of a better term, a gimmick for this first song. And I remember I'd been thinking that, you know, in this new day and age of, you know, these smartphones, iPhones, whatever you want to call them, or just they can do anything now. And I'd mentioned the way it'd be cool if we remixed, you know, our record Zyreka. You know.
Back in 1996, me and Steven, the other composer in the band, we started to think of these different sound sources. And this sounds absurd, but this is how we arrived at it. We have, I don't know why we had so many CD players around, but we had, I think, five or six different CD players that some were, you know, these portable kinds, some were embedded in stereos or whatever. And we would have a lot of CD singles. And so I think we had 4 versions of this Bjork song, and we literally were sitting in his house and I wonder what would happen if we played them all at the same time. This Bjork CD played, and even though we knew the song, it really played in this sort of tumultuous big sound, because it was all around some sort of unknown pieces of the arrangement jumping out from different sections.
We started to do some experimental sound collage things back in 1996. We called it the parking lot experiments back then. This moved into a thing that we did using cassette decks called the boombox experiment. I don't know if the word boombox is still used by anybody. This led to a record that we released in 1997 called Zyreka, which was 4 CDs. Back in the day, CDs was very progressive. 4 CDs that you played at separate sound sources. And then people have wondered, well, what's happened with that idea? And so I think in the recent couple of years, the most, you know, real recent, it sort of seemed like the idea of carrying your iPhone around, having it be one of these little sound sources, sort of became, I guess, workable enough. Or we sort of felt like enough people had iPhones or something that worked as well as an iPhone, that we could do this thing and not, you know, exclude too many people.
It would be hard for people to collect 12 CD players, but it's very easy to be around 12 people that have iPhones.
In this new day and age, maybe we could remix Zyreka, you know, change some EQ levels and stuff so you could play it on 4 phones. And Wayne's like, that's pretty interesting. And then we started talking about, like, what if we did something, a new piece of music for that same concept in mind? And it quickly went from 4 phones to like, hey, what about 20? And we sort of went back down to 12.
Me as a musician, I'm always playing music, I'm always recording music, and I'm always performing music. So I'm in music all the time. So to me, it isn't just that music is coming at you through headphones. To me, I'm always involved in an experience with it. And this is just an extension of that.
As long as you can get on YouTube and you got some speakers, you should be able to do it. Flaming Lips fans are pretty resourceful. They can figure out ways to do things.
Now, it's a strange experience, not for everybody, but a lot of fans of the Flaming Lips are, you know, they're musicians and artists and people who record music themselves. And so, or they're just weirdos who like a new experience. And so, for our fan base, I think this is another bonus to this kind of digital world now where you're not really going to a store anymore. You're not really, you know, you're just going to some place on your phone, and your phone is actually playing the music. That being said, I would say it would depend on the artist. I mean, I would say with some artists, it simply would be about sound. It would simply be about, here's what we do. We make sound. We've done music for a long time, and so, you know, as these, you know, new ways of putting music out in the world come around, it kind of gets your mind thinking, what could you do? And so I would not command or think that anybody else should be making, like I am, a 7-pound gummy bear skull that has a USB flash drive in there, and that's how you get our music. You start doing something like this, you see there's a lot of time that things have to be made, and so we're trying to introduce this idea that we have objects that carry our music, so it isn't always just somewhere on your computer. With that in mind, we've made this 7-pound life-size gummy bear skull. The outside on this one is pineapple and the inside is strawberry. I think ours, I'm not sure what our flavors are going to be, but inside there's a brain, and inside the brain is a USB flash drive thing that's going to hold these 3 songs that we're going to release in April. And we're going to release a little video later that shows you have to eat into the brain to retrieve the music. That's going to be fun just to have that and hold that. You know what I mean? And then you're going to eat it. You're going to get a stomach ache, but you're going to love it. The stomach ache is brought to you by the Flaming Lips and their music. Yeah. I was in town last night and we were texting with Lee Renaud. I said, hey, if you have a weird track you don't know what to do with, send it to me and I'd love to collaborate. It used to be, if you weren't in the same studio in the same city at the same time, with who knows how many hours to do something, you couldn't do it. Nowadays, I've done stuff all over the world. I've never met with these people. We send them a track. And sometimes you want to just do your own music. You don't care that someone is going to come in and throw a color on it. But sometimes it's a wonderful, unexpected energy. They work with it overnight. We get the next morning, and maybe that's better. I sometimes think, intense artists, it's more of a battle of wills. We just did a little track with a group from Brooklyn called Neon Indian. A long time ago, we had thought about even working with someone like a David Lynn. But I'm kind of like that already anyway. We were considering working with is it Karl-Heinz Stockhausen? But he's dead. We know his daughter. She's a photographer for some English magazines. And I saw her just the last time we played in England. And she said that she had just been to her father, Jimmy Page's house, on Father's Day. And Jimmy was going to come to the Flaming Lips show the following day. And she had played our song for him, The Wand. And it's got this kind of riff thing. And he remarked to her as he was cooking out that he really liked that riff. He remembered hearing that riff on the radio. And she was sort of giving me that thumbs up from her dad.